Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Arkansas and Winthrop, okay? And it's funny because I wasn't really planning on talking Arkansas-Winthrop. You know, when I woke up yesterday, I didn't think we'd be breaking down Arkansas-Winthrop. Certainly a very interesting game. Arkansas wins. The final score, well, what did the final score end up being? 83-82? Was it something like that? All I know is this. Arkansas trailed 82-77 with about a minute 20 to go. 84-83 was the final score, okay? So maybe, what was it, 83-78 maybe it was? I don't know. I bring it up because the end of this game was insane. Okay, so first of all, Arkansas, like I said, they trailed by 5 with about 90 seconds to go. They end up rallying. We're not gonna break down the game, but the final minute and a half was just bananas. Tam in the chat brought it up a minute ago. So if you miss this game, again, Arkansas trailed by 5. 2 baskets cut the lead. They get the ball back on a fast break. Nick Pringle, the big guy, catches it, spins, goes in for a layup to give Arkansas a 1-point lead over Winthrop. Everybody's excited. They whatever, this and that. All of a sudden, he gets tangled up with the big guy from Lipscomb. Why am I saying Lipscomb? Winthrop. And all I see is him like holding the guy on the ground, looking like he's ready to punch him. And I'm like, what the heck just happened? And so you can see it here. But to be clear, Arkansas, because I know Arkansas fans are going to say you're crazy. The second and third replays, you could see pretty clearly what happened. And Matt, thank you for getting these pictures. This is great. For people who are watching on YouTube, please understand, we cannot show game footage. That's like literally, we get this video taken down by YouTube. We could get potentially sued by ESPN. But you can see here, this whole thing happened because the Lipscomb player, I believe his name was Stinchcomb or something like that. I think he played at Indiana for a while. Grabs Pringle around the neck and throws him to the ground. So the initial reaction is it's Pringle's fault. Why is he ready to fight this guy? But when you see the second and third replay, you can see the arm around the neck throwing him to the ground. Now, the defenders of the player on Winthrop said this. They said that he got tangled up. You know, he got tripped by his teammate who was on the ground. I don't care. What I will say is I will defend Nick Pringle to his death for this because it appeared, whether it was intentional or not, the guy grabbed him around the neck and threw him to the ground. And so, frankly, I think in a lot of ways, everybody should be lucky it didn't escalate even more because, listen, we all know the emotions of the game and how this stuff happens. And, you know, there could have been a fight. You know, multiple players were ejected for leaving the bench. Thankfully this didn't happen with, 8 minutes to go because DJ Wagner left the game, whatever. But what I will say is anyone who's saying that it's Nick Pringle's fault, you're an idiot. I'm sorry, because I got a lot of that when I posted the video on social media. You're a freaking idiot. There's no other way to put it, because explain to me a guy makes a go-ahead basket with 11 seconds to go to cap a 5-point deficit in a 5-point comeback, and his first reaction is to body slam and try to hurt somebody from another team. You're an idiot if you really think that. So it was a crazy ending. To the credit of Arkansas, they get the one defensive stop that they need, and they hold on to the win. So we get the win. And like I said, if Arkansas had lost, we certainly would have talked about this. If Arkansas had just won without the fight, I don't know that we would have. But I will say this. Now that we got past the fight, let's talk a little bit about Arkansas, because those were the 2 reactions that I got when I posted the video. One was you're either on Team Nick Pringle or you're not. But 2 was people that didn't know the context of the game saying, wait, Arkansas was in a 1-point game with 11 seconds to go. Yeah, it was bad. So let's go ahead and talk about it really quick. Listen, the one thing I will say about the Arkansas situation, because it came on the heels of Kentucky losing, and there's always going to be the tie between those 2 schools. The one thing I will say about Arkansas, there's two reasons I'm not as worried about Arkansas as I am about Kentucky. One, John Calipari has a track record of always figuring it out. And you could sit there and say, whatever. But remember, last year from 0-5 in the SEC to the Sweet 16. The year before, when he left Kentucky, everybody wants to say, oh, he stunk. They finished second in the SEC. They won at Arkansas. They won at Tennessee. That was the year Tennessee had Dalton Connect and they won the SEC. Kentucky won at Tennessee late in the year. So Calipari has a track record of figuring it out. I think the other difference between Arkansas and the other teams that are struggling, including Kentucky, they got two dudes that can just take over games, right? Malik Thomas, listen, I'll say this. I knew how good Darius Acuff was. I did not know how good Malik Thomas was. In this game, 26 points, 10 of 20 from the field, 3 of 8 from 3. He was the guy that carried them late when they needed. Again, I knew Darius Acuff was good. I had no idea how good this guy was. I think the issues for Arkansas, though, are becoming multifold. I think one, the front court outside of Nick Pringle game-winning score and body slam, really, I don't know, is giving you what you were hoping for. Remember, what was the issue with Arkansas late in the year last year? Not enough front court depth. They got bullied on the boards against Texas Tech in the Elite Eight. And if you remember the Michigan State game this year, I said, that's my gripe. Everybody was focused about Calipari, last-minute offense, whatever, blah, 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 this and that. And what I said was, I don't know that I really care about the last-minute offense. What I actually care about is the fact that he spent all offseason saying we need to be tougher in the paint, and then you get beat up by Michigan State. Now, some of it is Michigan State is really good, but the other part is your big guys are not living up to expectations. And again, I'll say the same thing about Arkansas that I said about Kentucky a minute ago. It's the NIL era. I am not going to feel sorry about calling out individuals. Malik Ewan was paid a lot of money coming off of a season in which he averaged 14-8 against for Florida State, He's averaging 4-3 right now, really 5-3. Forgive me. That's, whatever, 1 point difference. He has not been good enough. Trevin Brazile has been inconsistent. Nick Pringle, up until the game, up until late, struggled in that game. And so the front court has to be better. And then I think, obviously, just the spacing, the ball movement, the offense has to be better, because this was a game where, as a team, you had 13 assists on 29 made field goals. That's not good enough. And by the way, you know who else that's not good enough for? John Calipari. I actually love this quote from John Calipari. Now, if you are listening in the car, Cal says a little 4-letter word in here, but basically he's asked about, why are you struggling on offense? What needs to get fixed? Matt, do we have the sound of John Calipari?
How about we may go back to how you guys grew up, if any of you really ever played basketball, where you had to pass it 5 times before you shoot it. You all do that? I think we're going to do that. 8th grade shit. We're going to go 8th grade. You got to pass it before 5 or 6 times. Coach Knight had a lot of fun doing that. That's how they played. The ball's moving, you're screening, and until we get to this, you're not shooting the ball. I mean, I'm not talking about transition. In transition, we're as good as anybody in the country. But until you rebound better and defend, you're going to end up playing them doing this and you coming down quick. You saw the first play of the first half. It's almost like I got to draw stuff up to get them to go from one side of the court to the other to do it. It's on me. It's not on them. So I got a lot of work to do.
So John Calipari saying it's on me, it's not on them. But again, to quote John Calipari, some 8th grade shit. We got to get this 8th grade shit going right now. Yeah, I don't know what else there is to say, man. I can't be worried. I've seen this 20 times with Cal in the last 20 years. It's not always pretty early. He always gets it figured out late, including last year. And by the way, including last year with a much less talented roster. The other thing about Coach Cal, too, we talked about it earlier with Pope. Like, is Pope going to be hard on these guys? Cal will MF a guy, like, straight to his face. He doesn't care if you're a lottery pick or the last guy on the bench. Malik Ewan, congrats on that NIL check. If you're not doing what he wants, go sit your butt at the end of the bench. So, again, maybe some people are worried. I'm not. I don't want to say that I don't care, but I just think that it's going to take time. They're a work in progress, but we'll see what happens. Arkansas with one more game next Monday before the big Thanksgiving game. against Duke. Remember, they play Duke on Thanksgiving Day, Thanksgiving night on CBS at 8 p.m. Eastern. By the way, I might have to sneak away from the Thanksgiving dinner table to maybe do a quick reaction before that game.